rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Well, it does not matter who the host is. Today's Monday, December the 20th of 2021, day 354th of the year. And are you ready? Only 11 days left to go before the whole shit show's over with. Anyways, we are broadcasting live from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse that is known as Safety FM. And of course, we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place that we do stuff at, that other place.
Radio.
Oh, yes, hanging out at RadioBig.fm. You already know this. We already know that. We talk about it, but it's still stuff that we already know. So here we go. We are in the week of Christmas. Definitely, for sure. It will get us moving and grooving and all that other kind of fun stuff as we do take a look around and everything else. So are you ready? Are you already purchasing? Did you purchase? Are you done shopping? Did you do all the holiday stuff that's going on? I mean, don't get mad. Don't get mad with the people that are out there that are working in the retail shops because you decided to wait to the timeline on when Mary's water broke before you decided to go buy your gifts. That's for sure. Anyway, so let's start talking about the things that are going on inside of the world because that's always important. So let's talk about what was actually hitting the redes sociales, what was hitting the hashtags, what were the trends from over the weekend. Saturday was National Twin Day. Hashtag for the shoe was trending on Saturday as the New England Patriots played the Indianapolis Colts. Jake Paul was trending over the weekend after social media star knocked out martial artist Tyrone Woodley in round 6 out of Tampa, Florida. Sunday was National Hard Candy Day. R.I.P. Drakeo was trending on Sunday as news broke as the rapper was fatally stabbed during Once Upon a Time festival in Los Angeles. More on that a little bit later. Manly Xmas gifts was trending on Sunday, included anything endorsed by Chuck Norris, a mini bar, privacy, booze, fart filters, beer tree, a new grill, and a Home Depot gift card. There you go. So that was trending as well. And then Tiger Woods and Charlie Woods was trending yesterday after the father and son duo took second place as the PNC champions. It was Tiger's first time golfing competitively since his car accident. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on. So here we go. So this week we'll be hanging out, doing some stuff. I know a lot of other radio shows are not out there today doing their thing because, some people are taking it easy, taking the shorter week aspect of it. I mean, and everybody has to do their own gig. I mean, I get it. It makes sense to me. I still feel like I owe you because I was down a week that I wasn't expecting to be down. So sorry about that. So we'll be here. But before we get into the news today and start talking about feature story news, I want to tell you what happened in the weekend box office because I think that that's going to be important. We'll give you from 10 to 1, 1 to 10, all that kind of fun stuff. So at number 10 was Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, was down from the number 6 spot, bringing in $280,000. At number 9 was Clifford, the Big Red Dog, was down from number 7 to number 9 with $400,000. What else did we have? We have Internals with the Internas with $1.1 million at number 8 down from the number 5 spot. The Rise at number 7 was new with $1.3 million. House of Gucci made $1.8 million down from the number 4 spot to the number 6 spot. Number 5 was Nightmare Alley at $2.9 million. And number 4, Ghostbusters Afterlife fell from the number 3 spot to the number 4 spot at $3.4 million. West Side Story made $3.4 million, down from the number 1 spot. Encanto is $6.5 million and stayed at the number 2 spot. But the number 1 movie over the box office, which I don't think that is going to be a surprise to anybody, but Spider-Man No Way Home made $253 million. Third best opening in movie history after Avengers Endgames and Avengers Infinity War. So I think that this is going to be the one. I don't know. If you haven't taken a watch of it, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I have not watched it yet. I was going to take my daughter, and she kind of said, I'm going with my friend. So I guess I got dumped on that dig. But hey, that's nothing new. Anyway, so let's get you into our friends at Feature Story News for them to tell you what is going on inside of the world of what's going on, just around and about and all that. So if you're new to the show, it kind of goes this way. They are the professional broadcasters. They talk about what's going on. And then we come back, hang out together, and then I give you my observatory of what's going on inside of the world of the news. So let's get that moving right away with our friends at Feature Story News right now on the Rated R Safety Show.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Chris Jones. India's capital could bring in a vaccine mandate soon. The first of its kind order in the country could prohibit unvaccinated people from using public transport and visiting certain public places. This comes as authorities are increasingly concerned about an Omicron-fueled third wave, as Ishan Girg tells us from New Delhi.
Officials are meeting in New Delhi to discuss a vaccine mandate ahead of Christmas festivities. The federal government says vaccination should be voluntary, but state officials are concerned that with millions still unvaccinated in the country, Omicron could lead to a massive third wave. India's health secretary has warned that the country could see nearly 1.4 million cases a day in 2 months. And while India's overall daily tally of COVID-19 cases remains low, Delhi has witnessed its highest caseload in 6 months on Sunday.
Ireland has introduced new measures to curb the spread of the Omicron COVID-19 variant. From Monday, all hospitality venues, including takeaways, must close by 8 p.m. until January the 30th. The industry warns this could cause widespread closures and redundancies. The UK is also considering further restrictions. It's reported that civil servants have given Prime Minister Boris Johnson 3 options to reduce the number of infections. They're not completely ruling out a Christmas lockdown. And Deputy Prime Minister Dominic Raab says scientists are constantly looking at the data.
What we know is that Omicron is spreading, doubling something like every 2 or 3 days. And what's not clear yet, and we have to rely not just on modelling, not just on assumptions, but on the data that comes through, is how severe it is. And there's different advice, but what we have to rely on is the hard data that's coming through. We monitor it hour by hour, day by day. Of course, the other thing we know is that if you get your booster, you're over 70% protected. We've got 53%, I think, now of adults with their booster. The latest daily figure I saw was 900,000 people in one day getting their booster. We're doing everything to ramp that up. That's the best protection, along with the measures that we've got in place at the moment.
And pro-Beijing candidates have made a clean sweep in Hong Kong's legislative election amid a record low voter turnout in the city. Richard Kimber reports from Hong Kong.
The sound of celebration from the winning candidates representing Hong Kong's biggest pro-Beijing party, the DAB. The party secured legislative chamber seats across all 10 regional constituencies, while a handful of candidates running as independent Democrats lost out. Less than a third of eligible voters went to the polls. That's a record low and a major slump from the almost 60% who took part in the last election. Pro-democracy candidates say that shows the level of public apathy towards the city's politics since Beijing introduced reforms that give it more control over Hong Kong's election process. Richard Kimber in Hong Kong.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, looking today in more detail at the COVID-19 lockdown that has begun in the Netherlands just in time for Christmas. Prime Minister Mark Rutte called the move unavoidable given the spread of the Omicron variant. He told a Saturday news conference that he was in a sombre mood as he unveiled details of the measure. All non-essential shops are now closed until January the 14th. All schools shuttered until at least January the 9th in a bid to prevent the country's hospitals from being overwhelmed. Reporter Stephanie van der Berg is in The Hague.
We're just coming off of the 4th wave with the Delta variant, which means that Dutch hospitals have basically cancelled everything but critical care. Christmas is not quite cancelled, but it is very, very much smaller than it used to be. Now the advice is that you can have 2 people visiting your home per day. For Christmas, that will be expanded to 4 people. for most families that like to celebrate Christmas together, 4 people from outside your family bubble generally doesn't make up the entire family that would want to come for Christmas. So it's a lot of people trying to calculate who they can invite and how.
More than 85% of the adult population in the Netherlands is fully vaccinated using the old double-shot yardstick, but fewer than 9% of adults had received their booster as of Saturday. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
To recap our top stories, India's capital could bring in a vaccine mandate soon. Hospitality venues in Ireland must close by 8 p.m. until January 30th as part of new measures to slow the spread of coronavirus. The UK is considering further restrictions to stop the spread of the Omicron COVID-19 variant and isn't completely ruling out a Christmas lockdown. And pro-Beijing candidates have made a clean sweep in Hong Kong's legislative election. That's the latest feature story news. Chris Jones reporting.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals, some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, and listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation, Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, the Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what can be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. Look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Hamilton the Pug, Instagram star and shelter pet. Amazing adoption stories start in shelters. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
So you see, son, good manners are important. Should I go through it again?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open, don't speak with your mouth full, keep your elbows off the table. Share your things, play nice, and generally treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
I'm a retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing. After my stroke, when Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak. My name is Julius Gaines, creative writer, poet, photographer.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
These days, it can be hard to find and hire the right candidates for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs made it easier to find the people that you want to talk to faster and for free. I have to tell you, even before they ever became a sponsor here on Safety FM, we have used LinkedIn Jobs to help find the people that we have here on Safety FM. It's an easy service to use. Create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 770 million people. Focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience and use screening questions to get your role in front of only the most qualified candidates. Then use the simple tools on LinkedIn Jobs to quickly filter and prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know that every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/safetyfm. That's linkedin.com/safetyfm to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. And don't forget to mention that Jay Allen sent you.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, there you go. Some magical stuff going on always across the board. 18 minutes past the top of the hour on this lovely Monday. That's for sure. Anyway, so let's start talking about what is going on inside of the world of the news. Feature story just told you, so let's tell you some more. A new COVID study out of Beijing indicates that at least 40% of cases are asymptomatic. The new study includes a sample of 30 million cases around the world. Worth noting, while, all this information will use the rationalization, same testing, and lockdown protocols, it should be a giant relief that this data means that it is far less deadly and dangerous than it has been told to us. So I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing or exactly how that works. I don't know. There seems to be so much information out there in regards of what is going on. So if 40% are asymptomatic, it still has a 60% of not being asymptomatic for the other side. So kind of a combination of things to take a look at as you are going about it. And of course, the conversation comes up, especially if you're here in the United States of America, of what you think about the booster shot, if it's something that you would be considering doing. Now, I will tell you that I live in a state that's pretty interesting. That right now, if you went about and you were interested in getting a booster shot, you can pretty much get an appointment in relatively quick amount of time. Now, I was talking to a friend of mine on Friday, and he lives in a state that's much different. He says that you have to wait days and sometimes even weeks just to be able to obtain the booster shot. So I guess it's kind of interesting depending on where you're located throughout the country. Anyways, let's continue talking. Oregon Health and Science University has found that people who get a breakthrough COVID infection after already having the illness are will have super immunity. Yeah, super immunity. Is that like a superpower? Sequence provides superior protection from the vaccine alone. So I don't know. It's interesting on how that works. You have to take a look at it to some extent as we are talking, is that the whole big thing is that you're not going to the hospital, and supposedly the chances of death are extremely lower. But how does that end up being that you get super immunity? I like the idea of super anything, especially if somebody's pissed off and you put a cape on them and now you can tell them how they can be super mad. I don't even know how that came up, but it just did. I don't know how. It just does.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so here you're probably some news that you don't want to hear, but we'll need to talk about it anyways. Lumber prices are getting insane again. January futures put the price at double of what it was just a month ago. The Wall Street Journal reports that prices continue to rise as the natural part of supply and demand heading into the spring building season. So I wonder what this will cause going forward when you start taking a look at other things, like what will end up happening in regards of pricing of homes. Because remember, because of the lumber shortage and, the pricing of lumber, home rates had actually went out throughout the roof in regards to people selling them because, hey, it already had lumber there. So it makes it a little bit simpler in that particular regards. But it's just one of those things that you have to start thinking about. I don't know. So just something to go over. Anyways, let's talk about some other things that are going on inside of the world here. If you're a big TV viewer, you might have noticed some stuff over the weekend. Subscribers to YouTube TV had to live without Disney-owned channels over the weekend, including ABC and ESPN. YouTube suspended access to the channel and got into intense negotiations with Disney over subscriber rates. But it was quickly resolved, and the channels were restored on Sunday afternoon. By the way, Friday, if you were affected, YouTube says that you'll get a $15 discount. I mean, I don't know. Have you looked at the prices of YouTube TV? I mean, at one point it was a great value. I mean, right now, the way that I look at it, I think it's super ass expensive for what it is. But then again, I'm not a crazy TV viewer, but that's just an opinion on my side of the woods. Anyway, so I guess let's start talking. Oh, by the way, I'll take care of that. Sorry, hold on. Before I continue my next word.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
You know, you have to run the disclaimers from time to time. Anyways, before I get too hung go on anything that's going on, let's talk about what's going on inside of the market beat, because I think, it might be important for you to know what exactly happened on Friday.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Monday, December 20th, 2021. Inflation is the dominant theme on Wall Street today. While COVID-19 issues linger, it is inflation that poses the most risk to the market. Last week, the PPI figure came in much hotter than expected at the headline, core, and year-over-year levels, pointing to another increase in CPI down the road. With CPI already running well above 2% for going on 10 months, it's no wonder the FOMC finally decided to act. The risk for the market now is that inflation will continue to run hot for the next 2 to 3 months and force the FOMC to accelerate its timeline again. This week will be all about the Santa Claus rally and whether or not it will come. Traditionally, the time between Christmas and New Year's, the Santa Claus rally, is never a foregone conclusion. What traders need to remember this week is that it's a holiday week. Trading volume will be very light, and any move the market makes is subject to reversal at the drop of a hat. You can get the inside track at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, remember that. It is subject to change at a drop of a hat. People tend to get those things mistaken, mixed up as they go about during the Santa rush days, as we are talking about it. Anyways, 23 minutes past the top of the hour. Let's continue talking. At least 146 people have died in the Philippines in the wake of a typhoon that hit over the weekend. The disaster triggered landslides and flooding across a chain of islands. At least 780,000 people have been affected by the destruction. So, of course, don't know what to say there. It's one of those things that when you start thinking about it, how horrific some of those scenarios are. How do you prepare for a typhoon? You just really can't. Anyways, let's continue talking. Harvard is going virtual next semester again. No word on when everyone can get back to campus, but in a statement, the university brass said, "We will continue to monitor the situation and provide updates on these plans as soon as we are able." So imagine that real quick. You're excited. You made it to Harvard, and now you're virtual Harvard. I guess Harvard's Harvard, and however you want to take a look at it. But is it the same thing? You don't get to go? You don't get to go in? I don't know. I don't know if I would be hung up about that whole thing. Because think about it in this other fashion. Imagine that you work for a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate, and it's virtual. I think you're still going to be pretty excited about it. Just something to think about for sure. So many other times, people get so hung up on some of the other things that can come about. But hey, look at the bright side. You're still in Harvard. That is the important side of the whole equation. Anyways, let's continue talking. Gabriel Boric will take over in March as the president of Chile. He's only 35, making him the youngest president in modern history in Chile. The only second millennial age head of state in Latin America. He's expected to charge forward with a far left agenda. So it'll be interesting to see what ends up happening with Chile over the next little bit as they are talking, as taking over starting in March. So what do you think about it? How do you feel about the whole scenario? 35 years old. Interesting how it goes. I always look at it, and I know that, at least here in the U.S., we have term limits, age starting restrictions when it comes to president. But do you think that there should be an age limit to how old you can be as running for president or being the president? I don't know. It's just something to think about, especially with the last two elected presidents. And nothing against age, don't get me wrong here, but they are some of the oldest presidents that we've had. It's just something to think about. So I don't know. Just some things to go about. I don't know. I feel all the time that when we start talking about the whole politics thing, you can take a deep dive and really go into some weird scenarios if you wanted to there. And maybe that's just not something that we do on this glorious glorious Monday, you know, because it is a holiday week. By the way, how is that looking for you before I get too far? Are you working the whole week? Is it really just kind of hanging out, not doing much at work? I'm just asking. And then what is Friday looking like? Are you going in on Christmas Eve? I'm just asking. I mean, some people are, some people aren't. I will tell you, most organizations that I've interacted with in the past, they normally do half days if you have to go in on Christmas Eve, or it's the day that you get to do the potluck. So I don't know. I don't know if that makes it exciting for you, if it doesn't make it exciting. It's a kind of a very weird thing on how some of those things end up happening from time to time.
You are listening to a radio god. What? This has to be an error. That host is not a radio god. Anyways, this is the Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Okay, so let's continue talking. Online comic book auction site ComicConnect.com reports that a quality edition of Superman 1 sold for $2.6 million last week. The buyer wishes to remain anonymous. The comic was first released back in 1939. Do you want to know what the price was back then? A nickel. A nickel. A nickel. They paid a nickel for it, and the thing sold for $2.6 million. Well, I mean, good for the person that was able to get it. I mean, I don't know of a lot of things that I would go out there and go, I want a collector's item that will cost that amount of money. In regards of going out there and just be able to have it, because I would be deathly afraid of actually, number one, holding it, number two, even opening the book or the comic book, because what happens if you tear a page at $2.6 million? And I would definitely love to have a better understanding on, what did you just pay there per word? Because that's going to be another interesting aspect of the whole thing. Anyways, currently 29 minutes past the top of the hour. I think we're close enough to call it for us to do the things that we do, and we think we're going to go into that thing that we title here our main story. So let's go ahead and do that right now.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so here we go, main story. So let's talk about some of the stuff that you might have seen this morning, depending on where you were hanging and how you were taking a look at some of this. So let's see, the one you want, not the one that isn't there. So many things that you could probably apply that to. But let's take a look at a lot of the stuff that we could be talking about. Let's take a look at a lot of the stuff on how some of this titling throws some things off when we start talking. When we start thinking about this, most of the time, we start going out there and we start going and start thinking about a whole array of things when we start thinking about some of the titles that some of these things have. But when I started coming up with this morning and talking about it, I think that sometimes we go into organizations, you and I as safety pros, and start talking about how we want things to be, or we take a job opportunity because they have the safety quote unquote culture that we think we are looking for, opposed to looking at it from the whole standpoint on what that culture or what that program can be, what you can make it into. I mean, I will tell you, there was times throughout my career that I was taking a look around and I go, well, I don't want to go here to work because they don't have X, Y, and Z. And it's always interesting when you take those looks like that. It's always interesting because it's not taking a look at the opportunity of what it can be. It's taking a look at what's currently there now. Now, don't get me wrong. Some people can take a look at this and go, well, that can apply to so many other things in life. It can apply to my relationship, that the person that I'm with is not exactly the person that I want and they can transform. I would recommend to you strongly, don't go that angle. Definitely don't go that angle if that's what you're looking for. But what I will tell you is that when you start looking at job opportunities and things that you're wanting to change inside of a culture or inside of a job or inside of a workplace, look at what the structure is that's there on what it can potentially become. Look at it from the standpoint on how things are able to change by the work that's put into it. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to tell you that this is going to be an easy thing to do, because some people get that very confused that, oh, yeah, you made this sound like it's so easy. But no, that is not the case. Think about it, about how some of these structures will change over time. Now, I will tell you that I get to hang out with all kinds of interesting people, not sometimes, but all the time, including this morning, so don't get it the wrong way. But like last week, for an example, I am actually on a phone call, or we'll say a video chat, because that's really what it ended up being, because it wasn't a phone. I guess it was a phone, had some elements of a phone call, but it was some of the best well-known companies throughout the world. And this is not a joke as I'm saying this. And they're sitting around and complaining and talking and taking a look on how their organizations are not exactly how they want them to currently be. Now, I want you to think about this. I want you to think about some big names that come to mind to you in regards of different organizations, that sometimes you take a look at them and they are what you would say the standard bearers. So we can even go as far as saying the gold standards. And they're saying that they are not good enough. They are not where they want to be. They need to change X, Y, and Z to make it to the thing that they want to do. Now, when you start taking a listen to people that you would probably hold to a higher standard, or people that you would take a look at as the gold standard, the platform, the big aspect of what should be going on inside of the industry, and they're saying they're not where they think that they should be, that proves to me more and more that is the look of where it can go. Now, here's the thing, and I know that sometimes this becomes one of those difficult conversations, and it becomes one of those strange things that people talk about, and it's one of those strange things that you go, what? At no point will your safety program, your safety engagement, be where you want it to be. Yeah, I did say that correctly. At no point will it ever be where you want it to be. Because the thing is, will always look at it and go, it can be better. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, hey, we didn't kill anybody this year and that we can still do better. Well, I mean, that's a great goal, or that's great something that happened. You didn't do that. But you always look at there's other things that you want to tailor more and more. Now, think about it. Think about this 20 years ago or so, if you were in the industry at the time, and if we don't have to even go back that far. But think about it from how it used to be, where you would have those conversations about talking about deaths inside of a meeting, and how you're trying to bring down the amount of deaths, to now all of a sudden turning the conversation into, well, if we can limit the amount of ankle sprains that are going on. Now, I will tell you, that is such a big swing in regards of what is going on. Now, don't get me wrong. I would love to have more conversations about ankle sprains opposed to having conversations about deaths. But you will still always look at it that there's something that you can do to make it better. And that might be part of the difficult thing. So look at it from the standpoint that maybe it's not where you want, what you want it to be right now, but it can become the thing that you want in the long run. It's kind of a weird aspect when you start taking a look at it. But if you give this some thought and you meditate on this one a little bit and let it marinate a little bit more, you'll have a better understanding of exactly what it is. It's not always the perfect scenario. Sometimes it's the scenario that you want it to be in the long run. It's kind of one of those weird things that sometimes happens in life. It's not the one. It's the one that you want, not the one that's there in front of you. So just make sure that you understand that at some point you can change it into those things. But then again, what do I know? I'm just a guy behind a microphone.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with Home Title Lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets, and they all have one thing in common. Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard, that's optional. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Allison is perfect. I mean, she'd never tell you that. She's humble and perfect. She likes everyone. She even likes her untidy roommate's weird guinea pig. Allison, wait, are you texting and driving? Allison, no. That's the exact opposite of what I was just saying about you. Why, Allison? Why? Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
You know how sometimes in life you have those moments of shoulda, coulda, woulda, you know what I'm talking about. It happens all the time to people. So let's talk about that very sensitive subject of male pattern baldness. Don't go through that moment where you're going, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. Let's talk about my friends at Keeps. 2 out of 3 men experience some form of hair loss by the time they are 35. With more than 50 million men in the U.S. suffer from male pattern baldness. You don't have to be one of them. Think about this. There are only 2 FDA-approved medications that can prevent hair loss, and my friends at Keeps offer both. Keeps offers simple, stress-free way for you to keep your hair. Convenient virtual doctor's consultations and medication delivered straight to your door. I mean, I have to tell you, just for the whole sake of not having to leave your house to have the consultation, that should sell itself. But the low-cost treatments start just as low as $10 per month, and Keeps offers generic versions. Discreet packaging and proven results. Keeps has more 5-star reviews than any of its competitors. I want you to think about that. People love the product. Prevention is key. Treatment can take 4 to 6 months to see results, so act fast. All you have to do to take action to prevent hair loss is to go to Keeps.com. That's KEEPS.com/safety. to receive your first month of treatment for free. That's Keeps.com, keeps.com/safety to get your first month free. That's keeps.com/safety. Remember, not everybody has such a beautiful head as mine. So don't be saying coulda, shoulda, woulda. Act on Keeps right now. Okay, there you go. 42 minutes past the top of the hour. Adeline Pack with Twilight Sky. The song's readily available on Spotify and iTunes. A little K-pop this morning. So there you go. Thank you for Adeline Pack for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. So there you go. Let's get us back into some other things going on inside of this lovely world of ours as we are moving and grooving and doing all the other kind of fun stuff. So I guess before I get too far away from this, I should probably talk about this for a brief moment. I had multiple listeners over the weekend reach out and share this with me. So I guess I should talk about it briefly. Briefly. Let me see. If you have not heard, let's talk about this real quick because I think it's important. Appeals court reinstates Biden COVID-19 vaccine rules for large employers. So not sure if you heard about this. But something to think about as we can talk about it. A federal appeals court reinstated Biden administration rules that require many employers to ensure that their workers are vaccinated or tested weekly for COVID-19. So did you hear about this? If you didn't, I think it's going to be one of those things that you probably should take a gander into. So just some information if you were not aware of it to be discussed this lovely morning. To go over that information. So is this something that comes in as a surprise to you, or is it something as you pretty much expected it to come about and go and all that other kind of fun stuff? I mean, I never know. I never know what other people are going to be thinking and, all their kind of thought process of, hey, I thought that this was going to happen. I didn't think it was going to happen. It did happen. All that kind of great info. So just some stuff to think about. If you did not know, probably need to look into that a little bit more to have a better understanding of it. Of course, where I was pulling it up from has decided to crash on me for this particular moment. So let's see if we can find it a little bit in a different scenario here. So a Biden administration rule that requires worker companies with 100 or more employees to be vaccinated against COVID-19 will undergo weekly testing is back on. The Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals lifted the stay on rule on Friday evening. The rule was blocked on November the 6th, just one day after it was formally issued by the Federal Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or for those who don't know, OSHA. In dozens of lawsuits around the country, Republican-led states, businesses and religious groups, and some individuals charged the Biden administration with overreach. Among their arguments, OSHA does not have legal authority to issue rules regarding society-wide health concerns that goes far beyond the workplace, even if reducing the risk of COVID is compelling. It is not necessary in grave danger, as OSHA has declared it to be, as they said. In addition, they argued that complying with the rule would be costly and could lead to worker shortage. A three-judge panel of the Sixth Circuit Court found these injuries asserted in by the petition to be entirely speculative. So there you go. As the cost of delaying the impressions of the rule to be comparatively high. So there you go. Fundamentally, the rule is important to step in to curtailing the transmission of the deadly virus, as it has killed over 800,000 people in the United States, brought to the healthcare systems to its knees, and forced businesses to shut down for months on end, and the cost of hundreds of thousands of workers their jobs, wrote the circuit judge Jane B. and the Obama appointee. So there you go. In case you did not know, now you know, and that is some stuff to talk about. So some things to give some consideration to if you were not taking a look around. So now you know. So it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen here over the next little bit. Anyways, let's talk about some other stuff. TikTok Talk. TikTok is getting into the restaurant business. Friday, the video sharing platform announced its partnership with Virtual Dining Concepts to launch a delivery-only TikTok kitchen locations across the U.S. starting in March. Food and recipe videos have become a key part of the site's programming, with clips racking up over millions of views. About 300 TikTok restaurants are planned at launch, and more than 1,000 is expected by 2022. They could have named Talk with a mouthful, so there you go. Jake and Beyond Christmas Cakes conducted a study to determine the Christmas recipes of winning over the TikTok this holiday season. The sweets companies cross-reference its popular holiday recipe TikTok hashtags. And they analyzed the total of views associated with the hashtags and determined that the recipes populating the ranking here are the top 5. Christmas tree breadsticks with 323,000 views. Oreo and Reese's chocolate baubles, 654,000 views. Grinch brownies with over 1 million views. Christmas bark, 1.4 million views. And the number 1 spot went to roast potatoes Christmas tree at 2.8 million views. So there you go. Some stuff to look forward to if that's something that you're inclined to doing. So I don't know what to tell you, but just some stuff to think about for sure.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's talk about it. Since deadly tornadoes devastated his community last week, Mayfield, Kentucky resident Sean Triplett has been working with friends, neighbors, and donors to help get Christmas toys to children and families affected by the storm. Triplett, a former Marine who served 3 tours of duty in Iraq and Afghanistan, organized a donation drive through social media and has since moved the project to GoFundMe. He and other volunteers will wrap and distribute toys to any children or family in need. His first trip to the nearby Walmart filled carts to the brim with $2,000 spent on toys for children. The next day, thanks to the generosity of friends and strangers, he was back for more. So there you go. Some other news. When a 7-year-old Blake wrote his letter to Santa this week, he didn't expect his words to be read by thousands, but it struck such a nerve with his mom that the domestic violence shelter that they are staying in Texas posted it on their Facebook page. The heart-wrenching reads in part, "Dear Santa, we had to leave our house. Dad was mad. Mom said it was time to leave and that she should take us to a safer place where we don't have to be scared. I'm still nervous. Are you going to come this Christmas? Can you bring some chapter books, a dictionary, and a compass, and a watch? I also want a very, 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 very good dad. Can you do that too? Love, Blake." His letter went viral, touching the hearts around the country, and since the shelter posted it, it has received loads of donations of holiday presents for kids that are staying there, including everything Blake asked for. We're still trying to confirm whether or not the new dad, but as you know, Santa is pretty awesome, so who knows? Maybe the new dad did show up. You never know around there.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, 50 minutes past the top of the hour. So let's talk about some myths and facts about holiday weight gain, because you know we're right here. We're right here right now. So let's do it. Most people gain a full size during the holidays. Myth: a study found that females gain 1 pound and males gain about 1.5 pounds of the 6 weeks leading up to New Year's. That's far less than 7 to 10 pounds, often cited at this time. You know. And we're speaking for ourselves here. Bloating isn't the same as fat weight. Fact. One reason that you may feel like you've packed on more weight is because many holiday foods trigger bloating and water retention. And the main culprit, well, of course, carbs and sodium and pecan pie and mashed potatoes with gravy and shortbread cookies. So, of course, that will be the other thing. So let's talk about some more myths and facts here. Exercise staves off holiday pounds. Myth: more than one study has found that those who work out around the holidays gain the same amount of weight of those who don't. But remember, there are many other benefits of exercise, including stress reduction, improved sleep. On the other hand, if I'm working out, I'm not drinking eggnog usually, so I guess that would kind of be a help as well. I'll lose it in January. Myth. Studies have shown that most of us never lose our holiday padding, probably because after giving up the New Year's resolutions, we tend to gain back the weight that we lost, hoping to get my pajama pants for Christmas again. So there you go. So I guess that's one thing to think about. And then here you go. It's not too late to avoid gaining weight this holiday season. In fact, commit to 2 simple goals: budget your carbs and drink more water. Both can help you in avoiding help you avoid having to make the annual New Year's resolutions to lose weight. Well, as we've learned, at least I don't have to bother resolving to working out. So there you go. Just some stuff to think about. Anyways, before I get too far away from this thing, let's talk about a couple of things real quick. Let's get John Smalls right here inside of here and talk about the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. All of this week's quotes have been submitted by Matt. They're also all anonymous quotes as well. There's an anonymous quote that says, "The first to apologize is the bravest. The first to forgive is the strongest. The first to forget is the happiest." Did you hear that? I agree with this anonymous quote. I've had this discussion with friends who were having an argument. I reminded them that, hey, it's better to be happy than to be right. When it's all over and done, does it really matter anyway with most arguments? There are some things worth standing up for. And for those things, yeah, stand up. But many times, it doesn't even matter that much. Be the first to apologize, to forgive, and to be happy. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by AlessaMorgan.com. Have you ever wondered how you can tell if you're eating too much sugar? The first sign is you're craving sweets more often. Once you start eating sweets, it triggers the pleasure center in your brain. Consuming sugar gives you the feeling of being rewarded. There's a spike in dopamine, and the more you spike your dopamine, the more sugar you will crave to generate another spike. Second is brain fog. What's important to remember is that a fast brain is a relaxed brain. Too much sugar means overstimulation, and hyperglycemia leads to inflammation, so the parts of the brain cannot communicate well with one another. Third sign is poor sleep. One of the reasons for that is previously mentioned dopamine spikes. Second reason is that your body reacts to glucose roller coaster, which may cause you to wake up several times throughout the night. For more information and a 20% discount of wellness research services, please visit AlessaMorgan.com.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Okay, there you go. 54 minutes past the top of the hour as we are hanging out here and about to get the hell out of here and go over to RadioBig.fm exclusively. So if you want to come and hang out, you're more than welcome on doing so. Anyways, let me tell you about my friends at the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Whether you have struggled with suicide yourself or have lost a loved one, know that you're not alone. Hear about personal experiences from people in your local communities whose lives have been impacted by suicide and depression. To find out more information, all you have to do is call 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255, or text the word TALK to 741-741, or you can go to their website at afsp.org. That's afsp.org. Keep in mind, during the holiday season, this is one of the most integral times that you'll see a lot of people, going all over the place when it comes to this kind of stuff. So it's one of those things that it's important to have the information readily available if you're so inclined to do so. Anyways, let's talk about real quick. Did you know for the first time ever, a man-made craft has touched the sun? A Parker Solar Probe successfully flew through the sun corona on the upper atmosphere to sample particles of the star magnetic field. And yes, it's hot, and as hot as you would imagine. The sun's corona is about 1.8 million degrees Fahrenheit, while the surface, while surprising, is much cooler. It's only about 10,340 degrees. A little bit too hot for me. The probe feat existing because getting more inside of the sun and its evolution will give scientists clues to understand other stars in the universe. Plus, we now touch the sun, so that's something else to think about, so that's always important. Anyways, let me talk real quick about some other things that are going on inside of the world real quick before we get you out of here. No winner for Friday night's Mega Million drawing. Tonight's drawing, or Tuesday's drawing, will be for a $171 million jackpot or a $124.6 million cash payout. No winner for Saturday night's Powerball drawing. Tonight's drawing will be for a $363 million jackpot or a $265 million cash payout. So there you go. 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 Just some stuff to think about real quick. Anyways, just some information. After multiple SNL staffers tested positive for COVID-19 last week, creator Lorne Michaels decided to pull the live audience and most of the cast from the episode. So there you go. Just some things to talk about. Tom Hanks and Tina Fey opened the show by welcoming host Paul Rudd to the 5-Time Club. So just some stuff to think about, just in case you do not know that. Now you do. No. Anyways, let's talk about some things that happened back on this date, if you're so inclined to do so. Back in 2019, the United States Space Force is founded. It is dedicated to space warfare. So there you go. Anyways, let's talk about some birthdays real quick. JoJo turns 31. Bugsy Malone, 31. Bob Morley, not Bob Marley, but Bob Morley turns 37. Jonah Hill, 38. David Wright, 39. And Dick Wolf turned 75 today. If you're looking for some reasons to celebrate, I got a couple of those for you, or a few of those for you. Go Caroling Day, National Sangria Day. I thought that was every day for some. And Mud Day. So there you go. Just some days that you can celebrate if you're so inclined to do so. Anyways, we're running out of time, so I'm going to have to keep it short for you. I apologize about that because, I always know there's some other news that you want to know, but don't know if we can share that, but let's get to it. About 40% of us spend Christmas with extended family. The other 60% will get to enjoy themselves. Scientists say that 30 to 40 minutes of running 5 days a week can reduce cellular aging by 9 years unless you're running through downtown Chicago. According to a study, Twitter causes insomnia. Researchers say that it has become the most common sleep distraction in the world. Game on, said Pornhub. 57% of New Year's resolutions to lose weight are successful, says the report, which explains why my wife got me a t-shirt that says I am a 43%er. Keith Richards turned 78 on Saturday, but remember, he has the body of a 178-year-old.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Okay, if you need a random joke for today, one thing I learned from drinking that if you ever go Christmas caroling, you go with a group of people and also go in December. I think that's important. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. What is the best day of the week for Christmas to fall on? This year, Saturday's holiday is very handy for some, but it could the last-minute preparations even be more harried near the end of the work week. What works best for you? If you need something for the water cooler, try this one. Question: when it comes to gift giving, 55% of moms admit that they have done this. What is it? Forgotten where they hid them. So there you go. Anyways, you've been listening to the Rated R Safety Show exclusively on RadioBig.fm and SafetyFM.com. Safety FM is the home of real safety talk. Thank you for always being a listener. Without you, we can't do what we do because you're the most important part of our radio stations, that's for sure. If I can leave you with a thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. It is Christmas in the heart that puts Christmas in the air. Think about it. Anyways, I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye. If you want to come and hang out with me, I'll be going over to RadioBig.fm to hang out. I'll see you on the other side.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.